And welcome to Adam and Jake on the Movies. I am Jake.
I'm Adam.
And we every week we watch a movie and then we break it down, we talk about it, we answer some questions, and we see if we would recommend it to other people. You know, I was just thinking about it. There's a flaw to our system, or
Okay.
there's a flaw to my system, because at the end we're recommending movies, but at the same time we're doing spoiler alerts throughout.
That's true.
I guess I should change my terminology. I guess the hope is that people will watch the movies with us, even though they didn't know what movie we were going to do this week.
Right.
But they would do that and watch it. But anyway, all right. Moving forward, this week's sticking with the Christmas theme and the Christmas action theme, because we did Die Hard last week, as we jump into Lethal Weapon, which was, are you ready for your synopsis?
No, I don't have my notebook with me.
All right,
I had a bunch of notes as well, but I'll try to remember some of those notes.
I'll get it for you. So it's Lethal Weapon 1987 is when it was released. It was directed by Richard Donner, written by Shane Black, starring Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. And here's the synopsis for you. Two newly paired cops who are complete opposites must put aside their differences in order to catch a gang of drug smugglers.
Yes.
All right. Let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
I'd never seen this movie before, but you had, right?
Yeah, I'd seen this movie probably at least 10 times.
Okay.
At least
All
10
right.
times.
So, do you want my initial reaction first?
Yeah, please. I'm curious because you liked Die Hard a lot.
I love Die Hard.
An interesting fact about after you give your initial reaction about Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and how they kind of connect.
Okay. I was ready for it to be over, to be honest with you. I was ready for it to be over. It was fun, but I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't get into it as much as I
Okay.
Yeah. Like when it was over, I was like, cool, we're good.
Okay.
What about you?
I mean, I first saw Lethal Weapon when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and stepdad had Lethal Weapon 2, but they would never allow me to watch it because of the violence.
Mm.
So when I was old enough, I stumbled upon Lethal Weapon and I watched it around Christmas, and I liked it.
Okay.
I thought the dynamic between the two leads were really good. I thought it was a well-written script and the action was on point. And when I first watched it, I was probably in my early teens, so it was exactly what I wanted at the time. I was into action movies a lot then, and I thought it pretty much did. It was what I expected, so I enjoyed it. An interesting point: Bruce Willis turned down the role of Martin Riggs to star in Die Hard.
Oh.
And Mel Gibson turned down the role of John McClane.
Yeah.
From Die Hard to star in Lethal Weapon.
You know, that was good decisions, I think.
Yeah.
I think that this movie with Bruce Willis would not have been. He doesn't have the energy
or the charisma.
Movie.
I don't think he has the charisma of
yeah, no, and I don't think that John McClane's more down on his luck kind of guy.
Yeah,
and Mel Gibson doesn't play that well.
No,
like he's very aggressive when he's a very much of an actor. When what's his name is more of a reactor.
Right.
He kind of reacts to what happens. So yeah, that's really interesting. I had no idea, but
yeah,
I think
I did have a notebook full of information, but I accidentally left it. So, but that was one of the things on there as well.
All right. What would you change? Oh, was there more?
No, no. I'll throw little tidbits in throughout the show.
All right. What's something you would change about this film? I'll let you take that one first.
You know, I would change the. I don't think I would change anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I would change anything. I was debating this question when I watched the movie again, and I was going scene by scene. When I rewatched it, I didn't watch it all from beginning to end. I just went and watched scenes that I liked out of order, but I ended up watching pretty much the whole movie just out of order.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think I would change anything because that would I would just leave it the way it is. I think it's like how like an hour and 43 minutes maybe.
He has something around that.
I'm sure there's some
149.
pieces that I think you could trim, maybe a trim here and a trim there. I
Mm-hmm.
know originally it had a different opening. It had Martin Riggs coming out of a bar, and I watched that scene on YouTube, and the scene that they had where the girls jumping off the balcony, that was much better than the original.
Sounds way more dramatic.
Yeah, and
Than
I thought it captured the audience because it doesn't open up with Danny Glover or Mel Gibson. It opens up with this completely random girl, and you're thrust right into the story. So I thought that
Mhm.
was cool. What about yourself? What would you change?
To me, this was a first half movie.
Okay.
I liked getting to know the characters a lot more than watching the characters do stuff.
Okay.
Because getting to know the characters was them doing stuff.
Right.
And that's what I thought was so good, because at the first half when we're developing the characters, I almost didn't want them to change. Like I
Okay.
almost was like, these are kind of cool people. I'd rather
Yeah.
just watch them be themselves for the whole time and not become something a little bit different.
Right.
So I, I liked the first half. I think the second half of the movie, I don't know what I would do with it, but I would do some work with the second half of the movie.
Right.
It might be more in a script stage,
Right.
but all that to say, I mean, I sound very pretentious right there. Um, but I'm allowed to be because it's our show. Who cares?
Exactly.
But yeah, I would probably change the second half a little bit just to, I don't know. I don't know what I would do, but definitely
Well,
would be in the second half.
if you think it's due to the script, it's funny because Shane Black wrote this movie, and he's written many screenplays, and a lot of his movies take place around Christmas.
Oh.
The Long Kiss Goodnight takes place around Christmas. Lethal Weapon takes place around Christmas. Iron Man 3 takes place around Christmas. There was a couple others that he'd written as well, and they took place. The Last Boy Scout, which also has Bruce Willis, takes place around Christmas. So it's a theme that Shane Black has. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I think he
Yeah,
wrote that as well. That's got kind of a Christmas setting as well. So it's a theme with him, and that was just another interesting fact that I looked up as well, that I found out as well.
that's cool. He did Last Action Hero too,
Yeah.
which was one of the first action movies I saw. Okay, moving on. Okay, what about the main character's arc? Who would be? I guess I'll take this one first. Mel Gibson. Yeah, I mean, there definitely was an arc there because at the beginning he's like wanting to kill himself, and at the end he wants to kill everybody else.
Right.
So I see it. Danny Glover. I don't think his was as clear,
Right.
but yeah, I think it was there, but again, kind of liked his character at the beginning rather
Right.
than the end.
Right.
Mel Gibson's character. What about you?
Now, I thought the arc. Now, I was reading last night. They were ranking the lethal weapons in order. There's four of them,
Mm-hmm.
and number three I don't think is very good. I've only seen number four twice. Number one and two are the best of the series, and they were talking about his character arc, how it changes from the first film to the last film, and there's a big change, and it's not in the best way. But in the first film, I think that, like you said, he's suicidal. I mean, he's got a special bullet ready to do himself in with.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Charles. Hey, everyone. And he is a loose cannon. He's reckless, and nobody wants to work with him. And I think near the end, and he doesn't trust anyone either.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he doesn't trust anyone. He says to Danny Glover at one point, nobody wants to work with me. And by the end, I do feel like the two have come together, and they are a team.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel that at the beginning. I felt that Danny Glover's character totally doesn't want to be a part of this at all. He's forced into this. He says people say that you're suicidal. He says something else, but he is suicidal. Martin Riggs is suicidal.
Yeah.
But I don't think near the end of the film he's suicidal. And I think there's a change when he comes over for dinner and they have a discussion on the boat. And I think that's a little bit of a change because he's starting to warm up. I bet Martin Riggs has not had anyone invite him over to dinner in a long, long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's been him in that little trailer by the beach for who knows how long.
And he kind of becomes like a family guy-ish at the end, like almost like a brother, like
Yeah,
taking care
yeah,
of his brother type. So I mean, it's definitely it's less reckless. Okay, I feel like a lot of his work he does for himself at the beginning because he thinks
yeah,
it's fun,
yeah,
and he's really good at it, really good at it. But then at the end, I think he's a little bit more um, does it for other people.
yeah. And
So
he seems to be a little bit more open to life in general near the end.
mhm.
Because at one point he says, you know, he's like, I know you're going to be, you know, I know you're going to find this silly or stupid, but he's like, I get up every single day just for the job. Like he does a little monologue about that's what his life is, that job, and sitting at home drinking, holding that bullet, what he had it under his or in his mouth, under his neck.
Mhm.
So you know that's I think he has changed in that regard, but he's still reckless.
Yeah,
But he's reckless not as much toward himself as being suicidal, I guess you could say.
yeah. Secondary characters
Hey, Rob.
that stuck out to you.
Um, Gary Busey as Mr. Joshua.
Yep.
Um, I was reading that Gary Busey said that this movie kind of resurrected his career because it had been down for a while, and he was cast similar roles after this. He was kind of like a not a typical bad guy, but kind of an anti-hero a little bit in Predator 2. He was a good guy in Point Break, which he got that because of this role as well. But I would like to know a little bit more about Mr. Joshua's backstory. He's a
Mhm.
mercenary. He can withstand getting burned, you know, because that one guy says, put out your hand." Then he burned his hand. He fights. He's a martial artist because he puts up a fight against Riggs at the end, and he's a marksman as well because he's good with artillery. So I think he's a cool secondary character, but I would like to know a little more about him. But it wouldn't fit in this movie. It would
Yeah.
be pointless to know a little bit about him. But I think it would be cool to know a little bit about a backstory. What about
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, I was gonna say Gary Busey because I
Lethal Weapon.
he
Sorry.
was he was really the most recognizable of like really all the characters. I love that Darlene Love is she plays Trish. What's Danny Glover's wife.
Yeah.
I love that she's in this movie because actually my favorite Christmas song of all time is her version, or I guess she does the original of "Baby Please Come Home."
Yeah.
So good. So I love that, and I love that with the Christmas theme. But I think that Amanda Hunsaker,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, just even though she's not in it very much, I think she has such an impact, especially from the begin. I mean, like you said, if that opening scene would have been any different, it would have been you would have like it would have constantly been trying to pick up momentum.
Yeah.
But it's like we started at the top of the hill and just bam, we're gone. So I think the way that she played out her character and just the drama, really the opening scene, I think made it very helped out the film a lot. But I
Yeah.
love me some Darlene Love though. Love
Yeah.
Darlene Love.
That's a pretty interesting fact. I didn't know she had a version of that. So that's pretty
Yeah, she does like the original, and David Letterman used to have her on every single year right before his last show before Christmas to have her sing it.
really. That's
So
pretty cool. I
good.
didn't know that.
Anything with music?
I thought the saxophones, the score really enhanced the movie.
Yeah, it really had a noir sound to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much like when I mean you're dealing with drugs and prostitutes,
Yeah.
so having that that sax that just keeps on like kind of randomly playing. I'm sure none of those notes were actually written down on a piece of
Right.
paper, just some guy just going off. I thought that was really good.
It also complements Danny Glover's character as well because there's certain things that go on, and then he says, I'm getting too old for this S, and
Yeah,
then here comes the saxophone in.
yeah,
And a funny side note is Amos Williams' The Adventure Begins season 1, episode 3 features the saxophone score from Lethal Weapon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's such a I'm trying to think of the only other movie that I really heard that pronounced would be what was that noir movie that was like a big early 2000s Sin City.
Yeah.
I got that feel with Sin City, but it was completely different. Like musical, I got that feel with Sin City, but it's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
When it comes to film itself. But yeah, I thought that was good too. What was your favorite scene?
So there's a scene where it's right after they become partners, and Martin Riggs he handcuffs that guy to himself.
Don't use that scene.
That's not the scene. That's not my favorite scene.
Just kidding. Keep going.
My favorite scene is after that.
Okay.
So Danny Glover as Murtaugh pulls him into this like little convenience store or something, and they have this dialogue, and then Mel Gibson's acting in that scene, because he pulls out the gun. He's like, "You want me to do it? You want me to do it?" Watch Mel Gibson's eyes, and they go from crazy to like, "I want to get a chili bun," and he walks out.
Yeah.
His acting in that scene personifies his character from the height of the craziness to like mellowing out and being fine. And
yeah.
Danny Glover's, you know the scene I'm talking about?
Yep.
And Danny Glover's expression is just like he doesn't know what he's dealing with. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That was yeah. I just think about Bruce Willis, and I'm like, there's no way Bruce Willis could pull off the craziness of this character. Like, there's no way he could do it.
No.
But I love the scene. I love the scene where he handcuffs a guy and they jump off, because it's like the beginning of the movie. It's like that they're gonna land on something.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the way that scene, it builds so fast, and he just like steps over the edge, like he just doesn't care.
No.
And then he's like, he's like, "You wanted me to take care of it. I took care of it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? Come on." And I just I think it's so funny how he does it, and how it just happens so fast. I thought that was such a good scene. And I'm like, Mel Gibson, I'm trying to think of another actor who could pull off this movie like this. I think Brad Pitt maybe could do it.
Okay.
Like young Brad Pitt could do it.
Yeah.
But just the sheer craziness of this character.
Yeah.
But that scene, I think those are probably the two best scenes of the movie. I think the opening scene, I think, is a very, very, very good scene, even though it's a tough scene.
Yeah.
I think it's very important and it's very well done. But I think that scene was. Can I tell you my least favorite scene?
Yeah.
Then we'll wrap things up. When they have his birthday party while he's in the bathtub.
That's a very odd scene.
I don't understand that scene.
That's a very odd scene.
Is it because we just we saw what's his name naked, so now we have to go and like somebody see him naked?
Well, also they bring him the cake. He's in the tub. His family's in there.
Yeah.
Doesn't he pull one of them into the tub with him?
He's like his daughter.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, that's a little odd. And I never thought anything of it to begin with, but the older I've gotten, I was like, that's a little odd.
And then I'm looking for bubbles, because I'm like, were there bubbles there?
None. I didn't see any.
The only bubbles were like close to his knees.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a weird scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is such a weird scene.
Also, to piggyback on that, Danny Glover plays, he's supposed to be turning 50 in the movie. He's only 40 in real life. So that was pretty.
The gray in his beard looked a little, because he has gray in his beard and then he cuts it off. It looked a little forced.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting as well. But yeah, I feel that birthday scene. Maybe that's a scene they could I don't mind them having the birthday, them presenting the cake, but let's do it somewhere else.
Not do it while you're in the tub. That was so weird.
I would hate my family to bust in in the tub.
Yeah. I was like, first I got to see Mel Gibson's butt.
The first 7-10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and then I got to watch him. I got to watch a guy pull his daughter into the bathtub with him on his birthday.
Yeah.
That was weird. Anyway, final thoughts. I'll do mine first.
Okay.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I don't think I'm gonna watch it again. If I was at a place where a bunch of people are like, "Hey, let's watch this movie," I'd be like, "Sure, yeah, let's give it a view."
You didn't hate it or anything.
I didn't hate it, no, and it wasn't painful to get through.
Right.
It was just kind of like, all right, we're done.
Right.
Let's be done. So yeah, I thought Mel Gibson's character. I thought the characters were really good. And I think that was the issue, is that I liked the characters, but the drug world and the prostitution world I did not find very interesting.
Right.
So that's what made it so difficult for me to stay engaged. If they
Okay.
were doing something else, I would have enjoyed it way more than I did. But
Right.
I thought it was okay. It was all right. What about you?
My final thoughts. If people haven't checked it out, I think they should probably check it out. I do think the third act of the movie is nonstop action. That's basically the last half. The first part's more of I don't want to say a thriller, but it's more of they're trying to find the suspect. So it's more of a catch 'em or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some shootouts and stuff like that. But up until the last part, it's the last part's just purely action.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this, like I've said, probably 10, 11 times, and I've seen the second one almost as many. I would say, yeah, check out the first two. If you enjoy your standard action movie, you'll probably enjoy this. If you don't, then no. If you like Mel Gibson, I think this is one of his signature characters as well. So I think it would be cool to check out at least the first one if people haven't done it. But if you don't like action or Mel Gibson, pass it by. But I enjoyed it, so.
Yeah, it was good. Do we have an idea for next week?
There's been a couple of ideas thrown our way. The movie Troy, Brad Pitt movie, but that's a long one.
Okay.
I think it's over 2 hours long. 21 Grams was one. It's more of a serious movie. Go down that road. It's really well. I think one of your directors that
Alejandro Gonzalez.
Yeah, Babel, is that what he?
Yeah, he did Amores Perros. It's a trilogy. It's the Death Trilogy. Amores Perros, 21 Grams, and then Babel was his third one. One of them's in all Spanish, and then the other two are for the States.
Okay.
But
so, and there's another one on the list. I can't remember what it is, but if you want to just play it by ear, we can. Unless you.
Have you seen 21 Grams?
I have.
Okay. I haven't seen Troy.
I've seen it one time.
I know it's an epic, but I haven't seen it. So
I mean, if you want to try to tackle that one, we can attempt to.
Let's try it. Let me see if I can find a good 3 hours this weekend to get through it. So, and then if not, we'll divert back to 21 Grams because I have seen that one.
You have seen 21 Grams?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we haven't done like an epic like that before, so this will be different.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
So are we people that gravitate toward epics or no? I don't know if I am. I like epics, but I don't know if I gravitate toward them now.
That's the thing. I like some. Like to me, Gladiator, I think is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Yeah, I think that's really a beautiful movie. Yeah. But most epics, give me two other epics.
I mean, I guess an epic would probably be like, would Lord of the Rings that be some kind of an epic?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Or the greatest showman, the Hugh Jackman movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I think it's considered an epic. Titanic, is that considered an epic?
Yeah, that one, that's probably epic. Yeah, probably so. Oh, Avatar, I guess, would probably be one.
Yeah, I mean, Avatar. I don't want to get started on that.
We can do that on the next show. Let's talk movies again on the next show, maybe, yes. Unless you get stuff set up. So, all right. Well, let's wrap things up. We'll tentatively we're going to do Troy for next week, and if we change, you'll find out when we go live on Thursday.
Yes.
So that's going to do it for this episode of Adam and Jake on the Movies. I'm Jake.
I'm Adam.
and we will see you next time. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone. Bye bye.